Probably the best way to access all the tools that you need in your database is to create a custom tab in the ribbon. You can see up in the top left-hand side of my screen, I've got 5 tabs right now. I've got File, Home, Create, External Data, and Database Tools. Well, I work a lot with macros, queries, and SQL. Well, it would be nice to have a tab that holds all the tools that I need. That way I don't have to go and hunt or search for those commands when I need them. So that's what I'll show you how to do in this example. And it's really not hard. So if you want to create a custom tab on the ribbon, here in Access or actually anywhere in Microsoft Office, the fastest way to do that is to go up to your ribbon and just right-click on any of the tabs. Go down to the third option from the top, which is Customize the Ribbon. That opens up the Access Options window, and it opens it up to the Customize the Ribbon screen. Now, on the right-hand side, we see our main tabs, and we see all the tabs that we currently have available. Well, if I want to create a new tab, all I have to do is come down here to the bottom right-hand side and click on New Tab. Here's my new tab. Now, right now, New Group is highlighted. I want to give the tab a name, so I'll go ahead and click on New Tab Custom, and I'm going to rename it. Now, I'll just go ahead and give this my name and click on OK. I want this to be the very first tab that opens up when I open up Access. So what I'll do is make sure that my name here is highlighted. That's my tab. And on the far right, I'll click on my Up button until it's the very first one here in the list. Alright, now that I have my tab, I now want to go in and create the different groups for my tab. So like I mentioned, I use macros a lot, SQL, and queries. So I will click on New Group, and I'll create a group here for my macros. I'll go down to Rename, and I'll call this one Table Macros, and click on OK. Now I need 3 more groups. So what I'll do is I'll come down to New Group. It adds it right underneath the current group. I'll click where it says New Group Custom, Rename, and I'll just call this one Macros, and click on OK. I need 2 more, so I'll come down to New Group, and then click on Rename, and I'll call this one SQL, and OK. And finally, I'll click on New Group, Rename, and call this one Queries. OK. Alright, so now that I have my group set up, I now need to go in and add commands to those groups. And that's done by using the commands here on the left-hand side. Now, right now, I'm looking at just the popular commands inside of Access. These aren't all the commands, but just what Microsoft thinks are the most commonly used commands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it from popular commands to all commands. And this is a very long list. I'll start by adding commands to my Table Macros group. So I'll just make sure that it's selected on the right-hand side, and then on the left, I'll gather about 5 or 6 commands that I use when I'm creating table macros. So the first one that I want is the after delete command. So I can see that I'm in the A's right now, and actually right here, I see I have after delete. I'll just select that and click on Add. Underneath that, I have after insert. Make sure that's selected and click on Add again. I'd also like after update, so I can click on that, and besides clicking on Add, you can also come in and click and drag, whichever way makes more sense to you. Now if I wanted to, I can also go in and rearrange these just by selecting them and then clicking on either the up or down arrow here, again on the far right hand side. Alright, I'll grab 2 more commands I'd like to see before change and before delete. Well, I can scroll down to the B's, or what I can do is I can just click anywhere on the left hand side, hit the B on the keyboard, and that'll at least get me down to the B's. So what I'm looking for is before change, I'll add that, and before delete. Alright, so those are the ones that I need for my table macros. That group is set. I'll head over to macros. Now these are going to be standalone macros, so I'm going to switch it from all commands to macros, And I'll go ahead and add in both my auto exec and my delete all data. So you're getting the gist of this, right? Basically what you do is you find the command that you need in the left and then add it over to the right. All right, I'll just add a couple of more. I'll go back to my all commands and I need my SQL view. So I hit the S on my keyboard and I'm going to scroll down a bit until I can see my SQL. Let me scroll back up. There's my SQL view. Highlight that. Make sure I'm in SQL custom and add. And then of course I can keep going on for queries. Now if I wanted to, I can add in another group. I can rename a couple of the features that I already have, but this looks good so far, so let me go ahead and click on OK. And there it is, top left hand side of the screen, there's my Isabel tab with my table macros group, my macros group, SQL, and right now I have an empty queries group. So that's not so hard, right? It's just a matter of right-clicking on a ribbon and going down to Customize the ribbon. Now, if you needed to make any changes, feel free to do that. You can always go in and rearrange the order of the groups. You can go and take out groups you don't need by clicking on it and then choosing Remove. You can even go in and take out commands that you don't need just by clicking on it to select it and then choosing Remove. If I wanted my ribbon to go back to how it was when I first opened up Access, meaning if I wanted to get rid of my custom tab there, I've got a couple of choices. I can just deselect the check mark here next to my tab, and that's going to hide it. I'll still have my tab in the features, but it just hides it from the ribbon. Or if I don't want it all together, I can choose Reset down here at the bottom, and then Reset All Customizations. But I kind of like it, so I'll go ahead and leave that up. If I had a coworker that's also working with Access and they really like what I did to my ribbon and they want me to customize theirs, well, in that case, instead of going to their desk and actually customizing it for them, I can actually send them the ribbon. Now, that's done by going to Import Export down here at the bottom of the screen. I can choose Export All Customizations down at the bottom, and that's going to create a UI or a user interface file. Basically, I just save that file to my hard drive, and then I just email them the file as an attachment, just like I would email them a Word document. So they open up the email, they download that file somewhere they can find it, and then they come back into their Customize the Ribbon, and they would choose to import the file. And that's it. Then they would have a custom tab on the ribbon, just like I have here. Now, the one thing that they might want to do is, of course, change the name. They might want to change it to their name and maybe add in or take away some of the features. But having the ability to customize the environment to create your own tab in the ribbon is going to save a ton of time down the road. That way you don't have to go looking for the commands that you normally use. They'll be right there for you in your own custom tab.